Yo! So today we're going to continue the proud tradition of game dev. So last time we got a title screen, well not really, a menu screen working, as basic as it may be. And some systems set up so we can go in and actually play the game. The game itself is programmed at this point. So our next goal is going to be adding in... I'm pretty sure our next major goal is going to be adding in an NPC opponent. Super Miki, make sure you pass that test. So I've got a big old thing for input here. And this looks like... I got this player 2 control thing. I'm gonna grab all the ones here that are for player 2 and drag them in there. So moving clown, that's numpad 6. Numpad 6. Numpad 4. Numpad 4 and 6. Numpad 4 and 6. What are we working on today? I'm going to very briefly do a little bit of work to get some movement restructured, and then we're working on programming an AI. Always a wonderful time. Okay, so I think that's enough. I'm gonna grab this and just drag it outside everything. Did I just put it in here? Where did I put it? Where did that go? Let's just undo that and move it again. Because that's debug. Do I think I'll do Mario Odyssey? I don't know, can't say.
I'm gonna send you this video for later.
Okay. Until the game's out and I've played it, I don't know.
Or now, if you wanna.
I'm not watching it now. Okay, so I separated player 1 controls and player 2 controls out. not really seeing anything there. Though I guess that would be under game start. And then when we go to game end, I don't actually have anything in game end, but I do have in effects probably win-lose check. Oh, and the win-lose check just calls endgame. Here, so we deactivate everything. Good to go. Meanwhile, back on the title screen. So theoretically, now, everything should work exactly the same as it has before. Nothing should have changed. It occurs to me now that I changed all of the... I've put all of the button commands into functions. So in programming the AI, I don't have to actually do any of the execution for any of that. All I have to do is get it to figure out what to do. So if it knows it needs to move left, then I've got a function that's just move it left. So let's just simplify what I have to do down a little. Alexander's here, and Super Mickey on the Lego games. I haven't really played any of them, so I can't say. I certainly wouldn't say no, but I haven't really dabbled in them.
Because that was my childhood.
Okay, Naka Meat Bun player. And then it takes you back here. Looks like that got reset. If I just hit play again, I can't do anything. Nothing weird happens. It starts and we can go. Alright, so we've successfully changed nothing. Everything is as it should be. Now this is going to be the fun part, because I have to actually tell it what to do. Yeah, all I do is call functions, so that should be pretty... that should make that pretty easy. I'm never even going to use the hold right and left functions for the NPC. Here we are, P1 control, P2 control, P1 NPC, P2 NPC. Okay, so here we're looking at compare variable. So one is NPC, 0 is player. And it's the scenes. Okay, so effects is active. Okay, so that should activate the correct ones. Then let's go down to endgame. We also need to deactivate P1 NPC and P2 NPC. I mean, Kuiper's here. So we gotta do that, then we gotta go over here, where we also need to... is Meat Bun getting a design now? Not right this second.
What's up?
Oh, Kuiper just asked if Meat Bun was getting a design now.
Oh.
Because Alexander was talking about him. Or her. Okay, so theoretically this should all work.
We decided that Meat Bun was like a white bunny with like deep burgundy design, right?
Yeah, I know Meat Bun was going to be a white-skinned bestia bunny, dressed in a red witch costume.
Like deep, like a deep cream, not like fire truck red.
Probably. I don't know yet.
When I think of Meat Bun, I either think of like pork buns. I think of steamed pork buns, which are like deep brownish red almost. No, they're more brown, but still, it makes me think of like a deep red. Oh, I want pork bun.
Alright, everybody in the chat, we officially have an NPC. We officially have an AI opponent. Right now the AI does nothing, but it's there.
Okay.
Like, right now the AI is just continuously doing nothing. But we have an AI.
You have something. I wouldn't call it. You have an artificial. You don't have an intelligence quite yet. You just have an artificial.
Okay, so I've got enough variables on this clown, but I feel like I need to put another one on this clown. Okay, so in order to do this, I feel like I'm going to need... Okay, so here's a question for everybody. Should I do something similar to Magical Drop, where you could choose an initial difficulty of the game, but depending on your performance, the AI actually got better. So if you just wrecked, the AI improved. I don't know if I would go to the extent that Magical Drop went, because I know in Magical Drop, it almost didn't even matter which difficulty you chose. Because as long as you played well, after about 3 rounds, you would be playing on effectively the hardest setting anyway. So I don't know if I would go that far. I'd maybe put some bounds on it or something. But just that kind of adjustable difficulty, though. And I'll say I think what I'm going to be doing is changing the AI's difficulty. Or in order to change the AI's difficulty, I'm purely just going to change how fast the clown moves. I feel like that's all I'm gonna do. Yeah, on one hand, I'm for adjusting difficulty a little. but I would want to put bounds on it. Like, I don't want you to be able to choose easy difficulty, and after a couple wins, you're playing on hard mode. Like, that's ridiculous. Afternoon, Daisy. Okay, so let's see here. How do I want to handle this? I think I'm going to start by making a global variable. Probably here on the title screen. Let's see, difficulty, and we'll start with 0. Let's see here, let's add another button. What kind of graphic would a difficulty button have?
An angry face.
Done.
Oh.
That's just an unhappy face. Problem solved. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so on start of layout, we set everything to 0. Let's also set difficulty to 0. And then... difficulty, but... Okay, so if it's 0, 1, 2, 3, and then I guess 6. There is at least one male protagonist. I can say that much. There will not be robots as you think of them. There would probably be magical constructs. Plant people are unlikely, maybe monsters. Foxes, I would like to refrain from having animals in such in-well Gaia that are common to our world. There would probably be a kind of well Gaia version of something from our world. But there wouldn't just be... There's fox. Kitsune do exist, though. Okay, so you click on this button and it should toggle difficulty. So it should start on easy, you hit the button, it toggles difficulty. There's actually more to Kitsunes than just being a thing with 9 tails. Though admittedly in Well Gaia they're not exactly close to their mythological origins. I would hardly call cactars plant people. Okay, so, we can choose difficulty. Difficulty is going to determine speed. And I feel like that's about the only thing it's going to control. I do feel like I'm going to have to add another variable onto these. So a variable called destination. Alright, let's add our very first AI anything. So how am I going to do this? Sorry, I'm thinking a lot about how I want to go about doing what I'm doing, because I could toss something down that kind of does something, but that's kind of pointless if I'm gonna have to change it immediately. Later, Super Miki. Well, have I seen Ever Oasis yet? It actually looks pretty neat. I haven't looked into it too much. I don't know what this says. So for the time being, I'm going to put these up top here, and then potentially have everything go under them, because I will pretty much always need to refer to these two things. Okay, so we make sure we're referring to the right things. If destination equals 0, which is to say it's been uninitialized, set the destination again, or instead, to be someplace. If your X ever reaches its destination, then depending on... For right now, this is real simple, but it's just depending on what your destination is, do one... like, set your destination to be somewhere else. Okay, so else... So that means we're not at our destination. I may also need a timer or some such on these. Okay, so I'm gonna have to use difficulty in order to determine this. I think I can get rid of these. Okay, so the clown needs to move towards its destination. I've been calling them clowns. It's the thing from, like, Magical Drop. In Magical Drop, they were called clowns. It's the little thing that moves back and forth to actually grab the gems and whatnot. Clown Jester, it's the same thing. I just called it Clown. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I was thinking of making it the little sprites of, like, the current Gaia sprites of the characters. I was thinking of putting one of them for each character. Up there. Okay, so I have to figure out which direction we need to move in. So what we need to figure out is something in comparison to its current location. So its destination in comparison to its... So if its destination is... like... If its destination is lower than its current value, then I need to move left. If its destination is higher than its current value, then it needs to go to the right. Simple enough. I could do that with two conditionals, or I could do just a little bit of math and not even have to do a conditional. So if I take 1, so if I take our current x value and subtract our destination, we should have... If our destination is to the left, and our current x minus our destination should still give us a positive number. So I want that to be negative, though. So if I take our destination and subtract our current x, that'll give us a positive number. If our destination is to the left, and we subtract our current x, that will give us a negative number. Okay, so this should give us a number. That will either be positive or negative, depending on what we need. Now, if we have a positive number, so all we have to do is take this entire mass and divide by the absolute value of itself. If it's a positive number, we'll be dividing by a positive number, and we'll end up with something being divided by itself, which is 1. If it's a negative number, then we'll be dividing by the positive of itself, so that'll be itself, negative self over itself, which will be negative 1. So this whole equation here will either be 1 or negative 1. Multiply that by gem size, and we have now exactly how far it needs to move. This is either going to be positive or negative gem size, depending on where it needs to go. So we're just going to take this whole mess, and then go self.x plus that. Oh my goodness, I just did the hard part. Dang it. I did the part I didn't have to do yet. Move timer is equal to That's the part I had to do now. Set move timer to self.movetimer minus DT. There. If move timer is ever less or equal to 0, scoosh it. So else lower move timer. So we'll just keep lowering move timer all the time. And whenever move timer is less than or equal to 0, it'll set a new destination. So it'll set a new destination and reset the move timer. So I think right now we actually have a rudimentary AI. It moves. Well, let's see if it moves. Let's see here. Let's set you to NPC. It's moving. Look at moving. It's moving all on its own. It's going. It's going places. And it's going back. It's going backwards. It's going the other way. And now it's going forward again. We did it.
Does it go forward and back?
It goes forward and back. And forward and back. And then one step forward.
Oh, then finish the lunch. Oh my god.
All AI's got to start somewhere. So it now goes back and forth.
Why? That missed. Come up. Get up. Get it.
Okay, so something else, it needs gems to interact with. So let's go...
I'll give you some too. They're in there. You got one. Moth.
Okay, this isn't actually going to be an easy thing to do.
Grow up.
Okay, so we're doing that. That'll give us our temp count. If temp count is ever... It's gonna need some gems to work with, so I'm gonna say if it's ever less than 14. No, let's go more than that. 7, 14, 21? Let's go 21. Call function advanced gems. Okay, just advanced gems 2. I mean, I guess that'll take care of itself. Oh, whoops. Okay, we have something resembling a rudimentary AI. Miss Naka does not use a katana, she uses a bayonet. 2 bayonets, to be specific. What is a bayonet? Technically, a bayonet is a blade that you strapped on the end of a musket. So if any of the... So back during, like, the Revolutionary War and the, like, that era, anyway, you could use your bayonet as a bladed melee weapon. In case you got in range, or got in close range. Because obviously a gun that takes forever and a half to reload isn't going to be very effective in close range. So they tacked a blade on the end of it. That's not the only time bayonets were used, but that's the era, anyway. Since it is just a short blade on the end of a... typically used put on the end of the gun, what Miss Manaka uses is still a bayonet, but it's been fashioned into something closer to a sword. It's not a sword that soldiers use, it's the sword that's on the end of a gun. That's it. Like, there you go. That little blade at the end is a bayonet. A bayonet all on its own typically looks something more like this, where it just kind of sticks on the end of the gun. Are there guns in Welgaia? There are not. Cannons exist, but not guns. Like, the technology is not here yet to make something portable and handheld. And honestly, technology is moving more in the way of Magitech anyway, so we would likely not see what we consider a typical gun. Like a gunpowder-based gun. Once the technology gets to that point, which is going to be a long ways off still, I feel like you'd be more inclined to see a kind of Magitech gun. What Miss Naka uses, it's a bayonet that's been fashioned into something more akin to a sword. Let me see if I've got a better picture of one around here. There we go. The thing up top is actually the bayonet, and the bottom thing is the sheath. And then the sheaths strap onto either side of her belt. They're kind of like off-center swords, yeah. They also don't have that full tang, I think it's called, that goes from the blade clear into the hilt. Much more akin to a bayonet, it's kind of offset. And were we in a realistic video game world, they would be very structurally unsound, but I'm not worried about that, because video games. Are they stabbing weapons or slashing? Predominantly slashing, but they work pretty well at stabbing. Miss Naka's weapons are very light. They have very little mass to them. So they're not very good at bashing, which is what I guess like a more typical broadsword, really, is kind of a big meaty thing. So like they cut, yes, but they've also got enough weight behind them that they do a fair amount of bashing as well. Her swords, on the other hand, are very lightweight, very thin. They're effectively like 2-inch wide razor blades, the whole stretch down. The point is still very sharp. The back end is flat, so it is only one. So the blade is only one-sided. I guess we'll put this back over here. The back end is flat, so the blade is only one-sided. That doesn't... You could still stab pretty darn well with the back end, but predominantly slashing. But stabbing works too. Nobody in Well Guy has created maces. There are maces in Well Guy. Not hard to think up the idea of a mace. Put a ball of metal on a stick. How will bosses look like, gameplay-wise? Been thinking of something in terms of a rabby-ribby platforming bullet curtain. Not that way. I would expect the bosses to function more akin to... Honestly, I think of them more akin to something like Noi 2 Love 2. Where there's not necessarily a lot of bullet dancing and dodging that you have to do. It's more based on, You know, Kirby bosses also probably wouldn't necessarily be a bad comparison. But it's based more directly on a back and forth, like a fast-paced back and forth between you and the boss. With an emphasis more on broader movements than precision dodging. I'm sure I would probably have a couple bullet curtain-esque things in the game, though. Especially late game. I think Zelda bosses would also probably be a decent comparison. Like with Rabby Ribby, it's mostly based on like dodging and don't get hit, but the boss is constantly open to getting hit. And instead I feel like it would be more about that kind of back and forth, where you have to worry about what attack is the boss doing now, how do I dodge this attack? And then periodically, if not always, their hitbox would be open, but you would have to... Like, if it was only periodically that their hitbox was open, then you would have to get in when you get the chance, or do something to open it up so they become available. Alexander, please. I'm starting to think you've got something against ladies. Please stop talking about the rarity of males in Welgaia. So there'd be that kind of back and forth where you're either waiting for an opening or have to do something to create an opening, and if they have an always open hitbox, then it's simply too dangerous to go in and hit it at all times. So you have to kind of wait for that opening to be able to get over and hit them. Okay, so this is what I've got so far. I can set a destination. So the trick right now, I suppose... Oh, hey, you know what? Boss battles in Noi 2 Love 2. I mean, the music is fantastic, but... I'd say this works pretty well, where, Konjac generally tries to leave the hitbox open about as often as possible so you can hit it, and so it's just a matter of, like, hitting when you can and then getting away to dodge when the attack comes. I don't know if I want to keep hitboxes open quite as often as Konjac does, but in Mordecai Fluke, as you can see here, the hitbox is simply not open at all until designated periods. So you just have to, like, there the hitbox is open. And then it's just all about dodging attacks until the hitbox becomes open. I'm gonna pause the music for a second. Because Noi 2 Love 2 has some amazing music. I think Mordecai Fluke is probably at least a little bit closer to the design that I'd be going for. Like, as a mini-boss, Death here has pretty much a constant open hitbox, but he's also moving around a lot, so it's hard to hit him. So it's a lot of dodging and just getting a hit in when you can. There's actually a second mini-boss in the same stage. Again, pretty much constant open hitbox, but you have to get away in order to dodge attacks. I wonder what difficulty he's playing on. I think it's a fairly high difficulty. I don't remember the bombs doing the splash at the bottom. Like the spread at the bottom. It makes a lot of sense that I would kind of base boss fights around this as well, considering a lot of the inspiration for my design came from Noi 2 Love 2. Now, those had, like, pretty much constant open hitboxes, but O2 Joy here is another one that does not have a constant open hitbox. You can almost never hurt him, really. You've got to use the environment. Like, mostly just dodge attacks and then use the environment to hit him. While he stays in the background, you've got to step on the key at the right time when he's in the right position. And then to keep it interesting, about halfway through the level, he changes his pattern up some. And here he's got a barrier around him, so you can't actually hurt him most of the time. But then he does the attack where he shoots the barrier at you, and you can get over and hit him for a half second. One thing that I really like about the fights in here is there's no randomness to whether or not you can hit them. You're not, like, waiting for a long attack pattern that's randomly laid out that you never know if you're going to be able to actually... Like, you're waiting for that one attack to come out that'll actually let you hurt it. And then it just decides not to for, like, 15 rounds. Whereas here, it's pretty much... You can almost always hit the enemy. Or at the very least, there's kind of a constant... If not constant ability to hit the enemy, the opening comes very frequently. Such as with O2 Joy, you couldn't hit him all the time, but almost every attack let you hit him at some point in the attack. I'm noticing, at least so far, that most of the mini-bosses are pretty much constant, like constantly let you hit them. That's probably for the sake of speed, to be honest. Like, if he wants you to be able to blitz through the level, so to say. He doesn't want you to get hung up and delayed fighting a mini-boss. That's interesting design. Later, Alex. Now, Relo is also pretty much a constant on hitbox when she's not up in the sky, anyway. It's just dangerous to get near her sometimes. This is like a 30-minute video, so I'm not going to watch all of this. Let's see, partway through the fight changes. Oh, right, if you're playing as Relo, you have to fight Zoda here. And like partway through the fight, this crap happens, and then it's you. You're fighting this thing on a friggin' water wheel. Like, I like how the fights change partway through, and they don't just like, oh, they get a new attack or some such. They almost become completely different fights halfway through. Okay, these are a little more gimmicky because we got some extra weird stuff going on. I completely forget what this boss fight is. This is just a mini-boss, though. Admittedly, it's hilarious. No, is this the actual boss? Oh no, is this a bonus boss? Because the actual boss was this one. Hey, let's take a look at this guy. So again, pretty much constant on hitbox. Just always have to hit the eye. This guy's kind of neat, but with the changing gravity. And this guy you can't hit, but he does an attack that you have to kind of turn back at him. But he does the attack, like, constantly, pretty much. So there's still no waiting around. It's like he does one attack that you can't turn back on him, and then he does the attack that you can turn back on him, and he just cycles those two. I always thought this was an amazing fight. So it's not a constant on hitbox, but you can see the dodging is based more around kind of a broad... Not so much having like a billion things on the screen, but instead having a kind of broad attacks that you have to get into the right position for. That, like, once you know how to deal with, they're not that big a deal. And then it's pretty much got a, not a constant on hitbox, but they give you a chance to hit it between, like, every attack. It's still very fast-paced, though. It's just based more around broad movements than precision. You can't actually get high enough to hit her over top of these bars. It's just much more dangerous. Okay, okay, that's the bonus boss. So the final boss in this game is amazing. Is absolutely friggin' amazing. And I'm turning the volume up for it. So again, it's based on broad movements and awareness to what's going on, but pretty much constant on hitbox. Hi. Okay. Again, constant on hitbox, you just have to get the crap away for the attack. It's fairly simple. These phases are fairly simple, but this is also a long boss fight. Oh, and you don't even actually hurt it until you get to the second phase. So it's actually not a constant on hitbox, but you still need to hit the other things in order to progress the fight. So, like, you're technically not hurting it at all times, but you can progress the fight at all times. And again, the same deal. It's pretty much a constant on hitbox. You just have to get the crap away to deal with the attacks. And it's the same deal as before, where you're technically not hurting her in the first part of the fight, and then you start that part over again. So again, you're technically not hurting her the entire fight, but you can at least progress the fight at all times. I think the right earring will actually regenerate if you don't pull that thing in time. I don't know. I like how her expression changes, too. Yeah, what the crap?
Best song.
Best song? This is an amazing fight. This is an absolutely amazing fight. Because she's got a constant on hitbox. You can constantly hit her. But she's also not constantly attacking. Like, she's not constantly attacking, but you only get a brief chance to go in and hit her without putting yourself in danger. So there's this, even though you can always hit her, there's this constant back and forth you have to do between hitting her and dodging. This is an amazing fight. And add to that, she's moving, so you can't just sit there even when she is vulnerable and hit her. I don't know if I've mentioned before, but Konjac is an amazing game developer. And there's a very big reason this game hit, like, the cult status it did. It's just an amazing game. And did you know this entire game was made by one person? Music, graphics, sound effects, game design, programming, everything. One guy.
Explodes.
And Kuiper, if you want to know what this guy's working on right now, he's working on a game called not Ivory Springs, Iconoclasts. It used to be called Ivory Springs. Yeah. But he's working on a game right now called Iconoclasts. And it's shaping up to be just as impressive. It's even a much larger scope game than this. Okay, so back to what we were doing. So I got it to move back and forth.
Oh, man.
And it even advances the gems if there's fewer than, like, 21 or whatever gems on the screen. So it has something to work with.
Yeah. When are we gonna head out?
We should probably think about heading out soon. I don't think I'm going to be able to get into what I need to do next. Which, I've gotten some base mechanics down, so to say. It advances the gems if there's less than a certain number, and it moves back and forth. Like, I can move it, more specifically. What I need to do from here is intelligently have it figure out where to move and what to do. So, I think I'm going to start with a very simple, probably very simply, it'll just go, probably starting on whichever one it's on. Nah, that's gonna be hard. I'm gonna have to have it pick somewhere to start searching, and then it will it'll detect that block, and then determine, like if it starts on the left, it'll detect that block, and then search and find out, are there enough red gems available for me to make a match? And if there are, it'll grab that red gem, and it'll just move horizontally until it gets to the next red gem. when it gets to the final red gem, it'll throw instead of collect. So in order to do that, though, it's going to have to look at this red gem, and it's also going to have to look underneath it, so it really knows how many it's going to be dealing with. Because if I only look at the top one, it's only going to think there's 2 reds, when it can just grab this one, put it over here, and it's good to go. So I'm probably going to have to create... we need to head out here soon, so I'm not going to get involved in any of this right now. I do have the basics down, but I think from here I'm probably going to... Probably just for the next couple of minutes I'm going to do a little bit of brainstorming to figure this out, and then we'll head out. So I'm thinking... Because if we start on one side of the arena, that's very simple to just start there and then search horizontally going across the other way. But if we start like in the middle or off to one side... Maybe if I have it just pick whichever side it's closest to and start searching from there. Well, it's gonna have to pick a gem first. So maybe I'll start by just searching for the gem directly underneath it. So like, if it's directly under here, it'll search for brown and go, is there enough brown? And it'll see that there's not enough brown, so it'll have to look for a different gem. And I'm not sure how I would want to do that, really. I mean, it would all be one search. So... I mean, I guess ideally I would want to start searching circular out from that. Like, I would want to check, if not this green, then check this brown. If not this brown, check this red. If not this red, check this yellow. That's going to be a little bit difficult to do the back and forth for that, though. And if it does find the green, like we're here and it goes, hey, there's green, and it searches all the tops and down a couple to determine if it's got enough, if there's enough green. And if there is enough green, then it just goes, grab all. It's one of these buttons, grab all.
And he likes it.
Could I loop through all the top level gems and then sort them by distance from the current gem? Maybe. So if I find this green, and go, okay, we got this green. From there, I feel like it doesn't really matter. We can just search to the left and see, is there any green to the left? We know there's enough for a match. So is there any green to the left? There's no green to the left, otherwise it would set the destination over here somewhere and we'd run and grab it. Then it would continue going over and go, okay, there's more green over here. Got it. Okay, there's more green over here. And we'd have to go, at some point we'd have to check, is this the final green? Is there no more green? Because if there is no more green, if this is the last green, then we throw instead. Then we'd start here and search yellow. And go, okay, there's yellow. So we're going to grab yellow. Like, yes, there are at least 3 yellow we can match with. So we'll grab this yellow. Let's search to the left and go, okay, there's more yellow over here. Okay, that's all the yellow, so we're going to throw it down. Alright, go red. Okay, there's red. This would be funny because it could very well do something stupid, like go over here and grab that. And then go back over here and throw it down. Then search brown and go brown. And if at any point there's less than 21, it would advance more. And then it would also have to be able to search for if there simply are not any matches, advance. No, we don't necessarily want to advance. We may need to move... Oh, we're gonna have to move gems. Oh, that's gonna be painful to program. Moving gems. Oh, and how efficient would it be to do? It's like, hey, can we do that red if we go over here and we move this blue over one? And now there's enough blue. Now there's enough green. There's enough brown. There's enough yellow. Then here, it would need to... It'd probably advance once or twice anyway. And then again, we have no pattern, so it would have to know what to move. And that's gonna be so hard. Ugh. Like, we can move that, and then we can do this. We can move blue, we can grab blue. We can grab green, grab brown, grab red, grab blue, grab yellow. No, I wouldn't grab that. It does not have a pattern right now. No, it does, because it would do that. I'm gonna do green. Yellow. And then it has to move something again. So I think my next step is just going to be moving it to get it to do the thing. Probably the... Having it move gems is going to be difficult in order to get to a gem it needs to get to. Then again, it would have to move one over. Be advancing anyway. I imagine getting it to, like, pick up and throw its own gems would be easy enough. Again, it would have to move. Yeah, honestly, movement isn't as precise. Like, movement would probably be a little bit inefficient, but I feel like that kind of AI would at least work. The hard part is going to get it to move a gem to get to a gem it may need. And that's going to be... Like, if it simply can't get to anything, then it would have to move one. And if it's going to have to move one, it's a matter of figuring out what pair it needs, and what it has to uncover. And if it has to uncover... So it would probably look for a gem that it does have available. And then figure out where 3 remaining are. Probably count up the number of blocks between that it would have to move. Like, find the gem. Like, find a gem that it does have available. And in order to get to a total of 3 gems total... How many total gems does it have to move? And cycle through all gems in order to do that, so it knows which one it has to move. Then once it knows which gems it has to move, it would have to go over there, grab the gem, and... where would it throw it? I mean, I guess it could just throw it anywhere that isn't on top of a colored gem that it's currently searching for. I'm also going to want a height system in place, so if it gets too tall, it starts, like, reorganizing the gems to be lower. And then, of course, once I have all of that done, I have to program in how to get it to handle each one of the garbage gems. So... Getting it to move gems is going to be kind of difficult. That's going to be a project for another time. Move gems to set up combos. I am not even going to go that far. And honestly, right now my combos are time-based anyway. So you don't necessarily have to, like, set them up height-wise. You just have to do them within a certain amount of time. You know, let's try hard in PC. So by default, that is still very, very slow. I mean, this is a difficulty of 6, so this would kind of be the bottom, this would be the starting bottom end of difficulty for hard. That still feels very slow, though. Need to grab, throw, grab, throw. Go grab, throw. Grab, throw, grab, grab, throw. I mean, I don't know. What if it's 7? I guess this is always time, or always stuff that I can work out later on.
Yeah, you don't need to...
I don't have to fine-tune... Yeah, I don't have to fine-tune how fast the difficulty is yet. I'm a ways off that one. But let me tell you where the difficulty can go in this game. Like, it's just a matter of speeding this thing up. Okay, now for the hilarious part. What even happens here? Woo! Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the stream here. Next time, now that we have what happened, I don't think I can go any faster than this. Oh!
What are you doing?
Woo! I don't think I can get it to go any faster than this because right now it's moving once per frame. Which is technically, I believe, faster than a human would physically be able to play. Like even a TAS would not be able to move this fast. Because this is moving once per frame. User input would require at least one frame of the button off to realize that you pressed a button. So, like, at best, a TAS could go half this speed. This is actively cheating. It's as though it could give an input every frame. Okay, I think I'm going to call it here. Our next step is going to be getting the AI to actually do something other than this. Which, don't get me wrong, this is amazing. But... So our next goal is going to be getting the AI to do something. I'm probably going to focus next on it just picking up gem, putting it down somewhere else to make a match. What if I put it at 0? Oh, 0 is like almost the same thing. What if... Okay, nothing fancy. Yeah, so the idea is going to be, next time we're going to set it up so it searches out a gem that it can grab to make a match. Then it grabs all gems of that color, and then throws them back down. You know, one thing that I want to look into real quick... I'm not going to do anything to actually do this yet, but I want to check to see if it's a bug right now. So if I set the gem speed down real low, you can watch how slow it goes up. That's a problem. Okay, yeah, so that's one problem. So I think our overarching problem... Okay, so I think this is a bug that I'm going to have to work on fixing. Because I set it as you claimed the gem. So I set it as you claim the gem as soon as you hit the button to grab it. But the problem is I currently have a system in place where if there's a gem that's either falling or you threw, you can grab it again to get it to go back up. Which right now, if the gem is on its way up, you can hit grab again and grab it on its way. So that's a bug. That should be a simple fix. But I wanted to check that, though, because I've known that when you increase gem speed, things didn't really work right. But I wanted to check to make sure, because it occurred to me that things don't work right if gem speed is up, but they should. Because that just means if we get a player that can move really fast, that's the same as playing with a low gem speed. So any bugs with a low gem speed need to be addressed, and that should be as simple as... It should be simple to fix. It should just be as simple as if you hit the grab button and you hit a gem that's going up, don't do anything. That should be a pretty simple fix. And I think that's the only bug with... Like, everything else works as intended. I think, anyway. What the Pope? What the Pope? That ain't right. Yep. Yeah, we do. Okay, so that's another bug that I'll want to look into. So, we're gonna go ahead and head out. So, later, everybody. I'm not sure when I will stream next, probably on Tuesday? But, yeah. Later, everybody.